Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. I am here with the B model cars in CSR2 Tier 5. We're going to live race all these cars and talk a little bit about them as I do them. The big group here is the Bugattis. You start off with the BAC, which is the BAC, followed by Bentley, then BMW. Then you have the Bugattis, which is a ton of them. So let's go through this relatively quickly so we don't waste a lot of time. I started recording a video before and it got really long, and I don't think you guys want a 2-hour video just watching me live race. So I'm going to do 2 races in each car, discussing their strengths and weaknesses as we go. The BAC Mono is very strong because it requires very little upgrade to get high Evo, and it beats dyno. So anytime you have a car like this that beats dyno, easy to control, and runs very aggressively, you can just basically control the lobby. I mean, this is why it's a lobby killer. This car can just run below its dyno. The dyno's 12.8. We just ran a 13.1 against an opponent that ran 13.1. Sure, that opponent may not be the best setup car because in 12-second lobbies, as some of the veteran players would tell me, oh, that's 12-second lobbies, all noobs. Okay, that's not always true. Remember, in the lower lobbies, people are running less upgrades, but it doesn't mean their cars are necessarily worse than guys that are running faster cars. But yes, a lot of the players are going to be newer. They're going to be less experienced, so it's easier. Plus, you have a car that basically dominates the lobby, so it's unbeatable in this lobby. And I've raced everything in here, and I've seen them. I know how these cars work, and I can see how close I can keep them. And quite frankly, I don't need to slow down too much because I'm not going to get bumped. I'm already running slower than my dyno and still beating everybody. Okay, so starting off strong here, the BAC Mono. Let's go back to garage and let's move on. Okay, so that was the BAC. Let's go ahead and move on to the Bentleys. So which Bentley's good for live racing? Wow, we got a few here. And let me give you a little inside tip. They all suck. Okay, I have not found one Bentley out of any Bentley list that is half decent. And I'm not saying this because I don't like Bentleys. I actually really want to have one that runs great. The Mulliner, I don't see it beating dyno. This one doesn't beat dyno. This one beats dyno, but look at how low the Evo is compared to how many upgrades I had to do just to get it to beat dyno. So yes, it beats dyno, but no, this is not a good ratio, and therefore it's not that competitive. But we'll run this car because out of all the Bentleys, the GT3R probably has the best chance of being a decent live racer. All right, into the lobby we go. Whoop, challenge right away by the NSXR, which, as we all know, in this lobby, they're probably very confident they're going to kick your behind, which in my case, it's probably going to be that. They can run in this lobby easily 9.9s or better, and I got a car that barely runs 10s. And I launched just early enough to get a 0 RPM drop, which means I won't even beat dyno. So let's watch as the NSXR catches up to me around the end of the track and blows my door off. Okay. Not a problem. Let's see what he ran. 11.2. Wow, 11.2. I actually have a chance here. Let me see if he'll race me again. If I can get my launch right, I can actually run 11 and change, which if he didn't slow down, I still have a chance to win. Now, if he raised money against me, then I know he's fishing, and therefore I won't race him again. Or in this case, I don't think he's racing me again anyway. Yeah, let's find someone else. Oh, got it. Another car that is pretty dominant in this lobby, LB Aventador, although that's a newer player, hopefully, and hopefully his car doesn't have full fusions, and hopefully he doesn't have a good tune. That's a lot of hopefullys, but if all those hopefullys at least hit 70% on mark, I have a chance to win, which I like. Here he comes. Oh, no, 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 no. All right, I got it. Yes, the Bentley actually won. Okay. Does that make it a great live racer? No. I mean, this is 11.2 lobby, and I'm struggling to get this thing to run right. And he's doing 275. I'm doing 190. Well, I slowed down a little bit. I should be doing about 210. But the point is, the Bentley just isn't that worthwhile, especially considering how hard it is to get parts for these cars. The Bentleys, mark it off your list. If you get one, keep it in your garage because you may always need it at some point. This was a PC car at least once or twice. The Continental GT was PC car some time ago too. So definitely still hold on to it. It's a car that's worth looking at. All right, moving right along. BMW M8 Coupe. Any good? Beats dyno. You can set up to beat dyno, but if you beat dyno, you lose a lot of Evo. You don't lose a lot of Evo, you don't beat dyno by much. So it becomes one of those, either I sacrifice and run 10.2, 5, but can do 9.9, 9.8, or I don't sacrifice and I have 9.8, but I can't do 9.8. It's going to be real tough to run it on the dyno. So what I'll do is I'll sacrifice the points just to have the chance to beat dyno because it'll give you a little more leverage in live. However, you're also subject to what I call the high performance point low Evo ratio, which means much easier to get bumped, doesn't have any advantage in matchmaking. Usually it puts you in lobbies where the cars may actually be faster than yours. So it's not a great start. And ultimately, if you don't start off good, you're going to likely end up running against opponents that's going to ultimately beat you up. All right. So NSXR again in this right now in these lobbies, you're going to see tons of NSXR because, well, they're competitive. Who wouldn't use them, right? They're good. All right. But we're not here to talk about them yet. We're here to talk about the BMW. All right. So I'm staying ahead. I'm watching them catch up. I could slow a little bit here and still win. This will keep me closer to my 10.2 dyno. All right. 10.255. I did a 10.055. So I'm 2/10 under. I did beat him. But again, I am slowly but surely pushing my way into a higher lobby. And unless I can find some opponents that'll run at least 10.3s here and there, this isn't going to work out well for me long term. But M8 capable again of being tuned. A little bit of a grip-based dyno drop, cliff tune. Not a whole lot. This guy here is a pretty competitive car there. Oh, I'm racing a BAC Mono. Now, we all know from the first video, first car I raced, what the BAC Mono can do. It can beat dyno. It shoots out the hole really fast. If I could chase it down, I can win. If I can't chase it down, well, we know that is a loss. Now, if I beat it outright in the beginning, that's a good thing, but that means he's tuned to accelerate more on the end. As you can see here, it's a fight. Okay, now by doing this, I know he's got a dyno beating tune. I got a dyno beating tune, but by doing this, I'm kind of now I am pushing myself beyond my bracket limit based on my dyno. Now, if I was dyno at 10.1 doing 9.9, no problem, but I dyno 10.25. And I'm doing 9.9. That's not good. Okay, final race because we said 2 per car, and this is race number 3. But this is the only BMW in T5. So I mean, other than the Purple Star version of the same car, which works the same way. Okay, one more race, but this time I'm gonna run really slow and leave the lobby on a slow loss because I don't want to run a 9.9 and then leave the lobby because next time I come in, it's gonna remember that and put me in the 10.0 to 9.9 lobby where people run 9.7s, which is not good for me. Okay, I don't want that. So one of the ways to kind of keep your car viable, run it slower. Okay, which also means you lose, right? You got to lose some to run it slower. That's the reality of it. All right, so we just literally blew through Bentley because they all are bad, and then we got through BMW because there's only one car. So now we're starting to get into the fun stuff, and there are a lot of cars in this brand, and that's because we just had a huge Bugatti event not long ago, and they introduced a bunch of Bugattis, and you also had prior events that had Bugattis in it. So all these Bugattis are new to us, but here they are. The top of the Bugattis as far as live racing without fully maxed, in my opinion, Cinto. Why? Because it's a low performance point, high evo car that also busts dyno by quite a bit. Same deal, basically a grip setup, okay, with less than full upgrades, and I think maybe I'm running one S6. I don't have time to go through all the setups for each car. We're just going to see it. Theoretically, 9.3 car, practically running 10.1. Okay, that means no NSXR in 10.1 really should make me afraid. Not only is that a good thing, because it's a low performance point high evo car, it lobbies real well. So I may actually end up lobbying against cars that only run 10.2s. So I don't even have to beat my dyno to win. Okay, but in this case, I probably will have to. Let's see what happens here. Oh, this is important. Anytime you see this, these guys, they're in between two lobbies. So you're either linking to a faster lobby or you're linking to a slower lobby. If you catch a bunch of bots between lobbies, that doesn't mean you're changing your bracket. It just means you're changing lobbies. Even within the bracket, it could happen. Race them and race them slow. This is one of your ways to kind of keep your cars from being bumped too quick. And if I do one race and I see a bunch of bots right afterwards, that's a red flag for me that something not good is happening and I'm likely to move up lobbies. So I always race the bots slow because they run slow anyway. So you race them slow, you come out, you jump back in, and then you see if you change lobby or not. Usually if you follow through, you jump out and jump back in, it's the same lobby, that's good. If it's a completely different lobby, it's not always bad, but that means you definitely was shifted by the game. Whether it's by a little bit or by a lot depends on what you've been doing before and what your average is. So notice new cars, new lobby, right? I jumped out, jumped back in. Now, one thing I know for a fact is this should be the 10.2 lobby. These guys can run 10.0Xs, like 10.00 whatevers, if they're fully maxed, or generally I see them running 10.1 to 10.2s, which is good because that's what my dyno is, and I can now run my dyno without having to bust it to still win. Okay, and I'm pretty consistently going to be ahead of him. He'll catch up near the end. I'll slow down, and that should give me a win without breaking my dyno by a substantial margin. So about a tenth, and he ran actually slower than my dyno, so I could have ran even slower. I just know that the BR9s get kind of fast near the end, so I didn't want to risk it too much. Cento, again, in my opinion, one of the best Bugattis as far as live racing is concerned. And again, I don't chase fully maxed cars because fully maxed doesn't mean you're going to be competitive. Okay, you're far more competitive most of the time in lobbies like this. 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s. There's more competition going on. There are more dyno busters, of course, but you can also make your own car highly competitive here. So one more run. Let's see how well this guy runs. If you notice on the Cento, I am not using the nitrous even though I have it, because nitrous will push me well beyond where the car would run too fast, and I didn't want to do that. The other thing I'm doing is I'm essentially bracket racing. Okay, I know what my lobby is. I know what the car is supposed to run, what range it can run safely. So as much as possible, I'm racing within the bracket range that this car is designed for. Even though I could break the bracket, I choose not to. That's the whole point. You're sandbagging, but you're also trying to be smart about it and not kill your car. All right. The 110N's Bugatti, this one's pretty highly upgraded. It's actually my car I use in swaps. You know, many of you probably caught me in live lobby before with two of these, one on each account. Very good car. Dyno's 8.6. Okay, set up the same way as the other one, which means it can do this. 7.9s on a 8.642. Okay, so that's a car that I do like using. I am not racing it in live outside of swapping. Why don't I race it otherwise? Because your averages change depending on what you run. And if you want your two accounts to ever match up instantly, you definitely don't want to be running your car separately from the times you match them. Because when you match them, you run them very close to each other as well. You'll always be able to find them instantly, and it'll save you a lot of aggravation when that wild card's getting activated and you need these cars to match up. So, not touching that. Chiron Super Sport 300. A very good car, obviously, because it a lot of investment to get this car. And if you finally get it and it's in hand, it's actually a very good car. Now, again, I don't care about this car maxed because it's no longer even like top 5 or something. But where it shines is, again, in live lobbies, it has a capability. And this is, you start to see a trend here with these Bugattis, aren't you? Okay. 9.1, 8.5, 9.1, 8.5. Very easy to set up. Depend on the part upgrades. Tweak the grip, tweak the final drive, boom, there it is. Now, 300, another good one, but this is much more highly upgraded than the Cento, so its chance of it being bumped is a little bit greater, and I bumped it before already, but it's easy to reset it too. So it's not a terrible car. Again, I see bots, therefore I must run them and run them slow. Anytime I see them, once again, run them slow. Okay, so the 300 I raced earlier to kind of get it set up and test run it. Now, obviously, I've already ran it a little too hard, it seems. So I'm on the brink here. I could fall over the cliff to one side or the other, and I may end up being bumped to a faster lobby. So what I'm going to do is to kind of give myself a little push towards the slower side by doing slow runs, right? Time average. That's how the game tracks how you perform. And if your average is too high, you get moved. Jump back out of lobby, jump back in. Now I should see a full lobby of cars, and then we'll see if I'm on the fast end or slow end of 9.1. 9.1 cars can run mostly 8.8s, down to slower end of the 9.1 guys that are in the wrong lobby. They run like 9.3s. So you'll see a range of cars running from 8.8 to 9.3. Many of them running 9.0 to 8.9 something. That's your bracket essentially. Okay. Now people will tell you 8.9 is a different bracket. Okay, I agree. I don't know. I just know from observation what I find, not necessarily following a specific bracket chart. Well, I'm not disagreeing with those bracket charts either though. So, oh man, nobody here is just racing. Or they're all swapping. That's why. This is the other thing. Okay, he shouldn't be a swapper, but he's obviously doing something. Oh, here we go. Another Bugatti. This is a Veyron Grand Sport Bugattis, the only one that doesn't beat dyno by much. However, this is the only one that also has some slight lobbying advantage. So this should still be an interesting race. It just won't be as he won't be as crazy fast as some of the other ones that I deal with. Okay, so easy to control. I know he tops out around the same time I top out in 5th. So competitive, yes. 9.1 lobby, doing 9.02. Super competitive, no. Is he going to bust dyno? No. That's the thing about the Bugattis. It's the one Bugatti, and it's good that I found one in the lobby, so I don't even have to try to find one to race now to show you. It's going to run right around its dyno, maybe a little bit better if you're really good at shifting, but it's not going to be super competitive. But it's not bad. Okay, let's race F1. F1s are easy to race against because they top out halfway down the track. So as long as I'm ahead of them, I'm winning, right? Especially when you have a car that's slightly faster. If you chase them down, you got them. Now, mind you, the F1 with lower upgrades can't be tuned to beat dyno, blah, 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 blah. Same argument as most cars. But generally speaking, most F1s I run into do not bust dyno. They're set up to win because, well, because they're super high evo and they have lobby advantage. And I can now slow down. Oop, forgot to slow down. Okay, well, all right, that's bad. I kind of ran a little too fast there. Whoops, 8.7s. Too busy talking, but, 9.0. Okay, so that's 2 races with the Bugatti 300. Now I probably have to reset it because I just ran too quick, but it'll live. On with the show. Let's move on to the next Bugatti. We got a whole lot of them, again, in this game. And I have to switch to a different account for some of them because I don't have enough of them built in some cases. Let's go to the next one. Let's do the LVN. The LVN, again, lower level upgrades. I don't try to push for full upgrades because in full upgrades you don't get to do this. Okay. Lower level upgrades, you get to do this. Same lobby, 10.108. That's kind of similar to that 10.1 lobby the other car's in, the Cento is in, but this car is not as competitive as the Cento. The Cento, because it has 1700 Evo and about 20 lower points in performance point, gets a much better lobby matchmaking than this car would. Now, this one, the 1LE, okay, again, in 10.1, the 1LEs can be tuned to run 9.7s. We'll get to those when we get to the C cars, but it should give me a run for my money. Oh, a little lag there. Okay. I am way ahead, but it should definitely catch up. And that was tight. I was slowed down a little too much. Okay, let me see how much I lost by. About 300s. Okay, well, race him again. If he races me. He might have left and went back to lobby already. Let's see. So, the LVN, race refused. Thank you. Okay, I'll race you instead. So, the LVN is, again, one of those cars that can be tweaked and performs very well because you can control it. Is he going to bet me money? Is that what he's doing? Or is it just slow? Because I think he accepted, but... Oh, okay, just slow. Hopefully he didn't disconnect. Because sometimes when this happens, the other player already disconnected, and this is going to be a void race. We'll find out if he doesn't go off the line, then I know what happened. Okay, he did go off the line, so it's fine. All right, so it is a race. All right. All right, keeping it close, but that one I definitely won. Okay. 10.109, 10.138. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Add more gas. LVN. Oh, did I get challenged again? Oh, he wants a rematch. Okay. It was close. I kept it close, so, you know, people want rematches when it's close, right? All right, let's do it again. I don't want to race each one too much, so I'm going to go ahead. This is the third race with this car already. I'm going to go ahead and try to win this, but again, I want to control it. I don't want to go all out and just kind of go crazy. Again, keeping it tight. Maybe he's thinking if I would swap with them. I'm making videos, so unfortunately I won't be swapping, but good racing with you. Let me jump to the next Bugatti. Right, so off I go. So LVN, Cento, very rare cars. You have to pay for them to get them. Did I have to buy the Cento? I know I had to buy this. I think I won the Cento, but these cars, again, not able to be acquired at the moment, so it's, you know, a little bit tricky to acquire and get a hold of, but I'm sure Natural Motion will be happy to sell one to you sometime in the future if there are enough demand. Let's move to the next car, which is the Devo. Now, the Devo is not a bad car, but as you can see, as we jump from car to car, this is getting lower and lower. That is not because this car is not maxed. I actually have this car maxed. It's because of the part settings I have in this case. Now, the issue with setting the car to fully maxed, okay, which you can do, something like this, not fully maxed, but more maxed, is you get to this point and you have that much Evo. The car is a lot quicker, but the Devo can beat dyno as well. It just has to be tuned. Part of the reason I left the engine and stuff where it is because with it there, I can potentially control the final tune to keep it somewhat competitive. Now, as you can see, the Evo points for this car is not super high, and it doesn't get super high even though I'm tweaking it around, and that is really the main concern here, is whether this is going to get to a really good point. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll put it right here, and there's your Evo drop, and let's see if we can get the jump from 1600 to... Nope, not really. All right, so this is taking more time than I should be showing, but 10.132 also, but this time it's a 700 performance point. I'm just going to run it on the dyno for you instead of running it in live to save some time. But the problem with this car is, of course, to set it into a slightly more theoretically competitive position is hard because it doesn't make the big Evo points that I need in order to make it super competitive. And it looked like it froze. Okay. All right, let's restart this. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and do a quick run. See if it can break that dyno barrier. As long as it runs under dyno, it'll be fine. The question is whether it can and how much. Oh, 9.3. Okay. All right. Plenty. All right. So, 10.1, 9.3. Reminds me of the other Bugattis. So now that we have that handled, do a quick race in live. So yes, the Devo can do the same thing that the other Bugattis can do, but it doesn't have as high Evo as I would prefer. And it needs, in a sense, either to have lower upgrade and lower Evo, or higher upgrade, higher Evo, but not that great. So it's not super good, but it's not terrible either. So I guess it's kind of middle of the class here when it's compared to other Bugattis that we have. All right, NSXR, always a challenge. Here we go. Let's go ahead and see what we can do here. All right, so I'm going to run it for the first part, for the most part, without nitrous, and then just watch the end here, hopefully staying ahead. Yes, just enough to win. Okay, and too quick. So what it is this is probably the 9 lobby I'm already in, even though I dyno 10.1. So I might have bumped the Devo earlier doing other things, but again, this is why I don't like much higher performance points with lower Evo in the same 10-second lobby. I mean, if this was running in the 9-second lobby, it'll be okay, but 10-second, over 700 performance points, not a good place to be. Okay, you want lower performance points when you're in the 10s. You want somewhere where the performance points between like 670 to 680 something. Usually match makes pretty well. And I'm not saying matchmaking solely relies on performance points. It certainly relies on your dyno, but your performance point to Evo ratio seems to affect where you get put within the lobby. You could be on the faster end or the slower end, don't forget, even if you dyno in the middle of it. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the Ettore Bugatti. This is a free Bugatti. It was given to us. It can be dyno, but in a very specific level of upgrade where it's already using 0 and very low final drive. The thing is that adding one more stage of engine turbo intake or something makes it no longer possible. So you're stuck with this particular tune. It's a 10.7 that can run a 9.6, so it's about a 1.1 second down tune. But it's still okay because, for one, 690 is lower than what we did on the Devo. It's about 200 points lower than what we, well, 100 point lower. The ratio's not terrible, it's not great, but at least it's workable. Now, does that mean that you're going to face 9.9 cars running 9.7s? Probably. Does that also mean you're going to get bumped pretty easily? Yes. So, while this car is pretty good, those are the concerns you have, and you have to deal with them. Okay, so I literally am going to run out third gear and then stay there and watch him catch up and lose. So, all right, that's what I'm talking about. So by doing that, I know I'm running dyno. Oh, okay, so that was pretty close. All I had to do was just give it a little extra at the end there would do it. So let's race him again, and this time I'll actually hit nitrous probably like little bit over halfway through third gear. Now this car has such a long third gear that you're just not going to see fourth gear. If you shift into fourth gear, you're going to go pretty fast. So basically I'm going to do the same thing here again, except at the end here I'm going to and then maybe give it a little fourth, a little more. Whoa, he pushed it further that time. He went a little bit faster. All right, so 2 losses. This is the problem. Oh, so this time, see, 10.4 he can do. All right, So this is the problem with this car in this lobby. Again, I can win, but I'm going to be pushing too hard to win. Not a great choice. I would not build it just for live racing. Now, where the Ettore is actually really good is that it can beat Harkness without any stage 6s. All right, so it's positive. And also the Vitesse can do the same thing. Both cars, of course, still needs full fusion, and it's Bugatti. So if you're a newer player, you can forget about having enough fusions. And we're only like halfway through the list here on Bugattis. Look at these guys, all these. Now, I don't have these built. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually switch to a different account, and my video account, which I have some of these built, and I'll show you a little more before we call it for the B model cars. All right, we're here with the Mysterious Stranger account, so I'm going to showcase the Veyron Super Sport. Now, the Veyron is a really old car, but it's been buffed. And once buffed, if you set it to certain upgrade levels, it, once again, like any Bugatti, can beat dyno. Not any Bugatti, most Bugattis, I should say. So 10.2. Notice a lot of them are best at beating dyno around the 10-second range. And some of them can still beat it in the 9 and 8-second range. And generally speaking, most of them don't beat dyno by the time they get to the 7-second range, because you're basically maxed. So Veyron Super Sport 9.5 and dyno 10.2. Again, 10.2, 9.5. Nice fat margin for you to win with, and it is pretty effective at maintaining that lobby, but not as good as, say, again, the Cento and some of the other stronger cars. But this is actually still not a bad ratio. This is slightly better than the LVN, and therefore it'll be competitive, kind of like the LVN. And you should face these guys, which means I am in a lobby where cars are going to mostly run slightly slower than 10 seconds. Okay, except for maybe NSXRs that can do 9.9s in this lobby, unless I'm in the faster version of this lobby, in which case I can see 8.8s and 8.7s. Let's find out. So with the Veyron, basically it's the same concept. You can get out the hole pretty well because your car's pretty highly upgraded, and then near the end here, they'll either pass you or they don't pass you. In this case, I slowed down a little extra, but let's see what they ran first. Oh, 10.2, so very beatable. Not going to challenge him again. I just want to run the Veyron once first without pushing it in the lobby too hard. So I'm within my lobby range. It lobbied fairly. No advantage, but no disadvantage either, so that's good. So let's go ahead and take on another car here. 2 races. Make sure I try to win this one. Not that difficult to control of a car. Just have to be careful when you slow down, not to do it too much so that you lose out on the ability to control it. Okay, so, all right. Not too bad, easy win. And that is with a 10.134 on a 10.23. About a 1/10 difference within the margin of error on average for lobby, so that shouldn't really affect anything. And that's the Veyron. So the Veyron, again, fully maxed or closer to fully maxed, you can't do this, but at this level of upgrade, and really what I did here is I lowered certain upgrades, mostly turbo engine intake, in variation with transmission and other parts. And I am using stage 6 tire and nitrous. So this is one of those tunes which requires you to do what is a part drop, meaning if you have too many parts, it doesn't happen. You have to drop some parts for it to work. So if it works for the Veyron and it works on other Chirons, it must work on this Chiron, right? Well, yeah, no. So yes, the Chiron does do the same part drop effect. I'm taking a little more time to show you this stuff, but 2 stage of engine dropped allows you to have the dyno drop. The problem with the Chiron is that it drops too many points. It's just too much. And if you don't have enough upgrades, losing this amount of points become an issue because it'll push you right under 1,000 very quickly. So if you see a Chiron in the 12-second lobby doing whatever it's doing, dyno busting, you can also know that this guy is probably making relatively low RP, maybe 500, 600 a race, versus what you should be getting, which is anything over 1,000 Evo, you get at least 1,200 plus RP, which is what you want, right? You don't want to race, win, and get low RP. It kind of defeats the point. Again, RP is the goal here. If you're swapping, obviously it doesn't matter at all. You don't even have to have a car that wins. If the other guy honors swaps, everybody should be happy. But truth is, I don't see people always honoring it, so it's almost better to have a winnable car. And this way, if they don't try to honor it, you just win. So it's kind of like a self-enforced swap, right? You know, you're going to swap because I'm going to make you swap kind of deal. Okay. So, Chiron, much like the Veyron, got to launch it early or late. Oh yeah, that's another point. Don't launch perfect with these. Early's good, late's good, in between's good. Just don't launch it exactly on one shot. Okay. Again, slowing down, allowing him to catch up, but not beat me. Real quick and easy. 8.9. And I think this was on a 10.1 something again, dyno. So had to push a little harder than, oh wait, 9.1. I mean 9.0, 9.1 dyno is what I'm saying. Push it a little bit. This is working just like the 300, but the 300 doesn't have as much of an upgrade. I'm getting challenged again. I will take him one more time. Now, Harkness, much like the LBs, they chase you down at the end of the track. So you can't let go of gas too early, because if you do, what'll happen is it'll catch up to you, and then at that point your car won't accelerate anymore, so you're stuck. Okay, like if I do this too early, I'm gonna have him like literally blow my doors off at the end. I don't want that. Okay, so yet again, 8.84, 8.95. So he's within my range. I'm within his range, no problem. So this is the Chiron, but guess what? I just got bumped. Look at that, 2 races. Bumped into a faster lobby. Now these guys are going to run 8.7, 8.6s. So that's the problem. When you have more upgrade, almost close to max, the computer knows what your car is supposed to be able to run. Much better, I would think. And sometimes it bumps almost instantly. So that's why I don't prefer to have it upgraded to 713 or even 700 if I can avoid it. So that's the issue with that kind of a setting when you go up. Now, the other thing is that the better version of the car, the quote, better versions of the car, the 42 second, for example, isn't necessarily better, because you're still doing the same thing, but notice how I have less Evo than that. The only advantage, in a sense, I have is also less performance points, but that's not really that much lower. That's almost 700. So this is not that good a setup for live. Same issue is that because of the high points, you'll bump easily. And then there's this guy, which everybody restores from Legends. If you don't, you lead it. Unfortunately, it's not very good. It's a little bit on the slow side overall, and I can put it to stage 6s. It'll be a little bit quicker this way. Okay, so stage 6, it's quicker, but this is, again, one of those cars that barely makes enough Evo to justify putting it in live at all. Because if you have this low Evo at this level of upgrade, I'm sorry, but you're not going to do very well in live. Okay, it's gonna be rough. So EB110, until you elite upgrade it, probably not worth putting it in live at all. But yet again, it is possible to kind of drop some parts, break dyno with this, but then you're looking at like 100 Evo, which is pretty much pointless to run in live because you're making no points. What's funny about this again is the WRE version of the Veyron Super Sport is actually not as easy to set up and tune for live as the regular version of the Super Sport. Yes, this car is better. Okay, it's a purple star, it's faster, it's all that. But because of the changes in whatever the developers did to make this car, quote, better, it also makes it worse for down tuning for live racing. So it's a double-edged sword. It's good and it's bad. Over here you have the launch edition Chiron. This is actually a good car, but again, I don't know if I raced it on my other account, but this one, same deal. The points here tend to be a little bit on the high side. It can be tuned pretty effectively in the 9-second lobbies with the down tune to win, but slightly tricky to maintain in the lobby. And then you have this Pure Sport, which is supposed to be better than the other Pure Sport, but in the end, it's kind of a wash when it comes to downgrading certain parts to try to get Evo. So again, most of the time these quote faster versions isn't necessarily easier to tune for beating dynos. So that is essentially your B model cars, and majority of them are going to be the Bugattis. One thing about the Bugattis is, very hard to build cars, but if you can build one, or if you went to the Bugatti event, you build a few, you have yourself a series of pretty vicious live racers that can bust dyno, control lobby, and be pretty effective as long as you can control the car. That's the key. If you drive them too hard, you kill them pretty quick, and that's that. So that brings us to the end of the B model car review and live. I know I didn't showcase every single car, but if you have any questions on a particular one, feel free to ask me. If you want to know about the specific setups of a particular Bugatti to get dyno beating setups, I can discuss that in a different video where I can just tell you in the comments. In any case, feel free to make comments. Let me know if you have any questions. If you like the video, leave a like. If you like my channel, please subscribe so you can get notifications. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.